Hello, everyone. We are group number 4. We are going to talk about the social. What are socialists? Socialists refer to the specific language barrier or dialect used by a particular social group or community. It encompasses the unique vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Socialists are formed as a result social interaction individuals belonging to the same social group. The members of the group share certain experience that influence their way of speaking or the living use of certain word expression, phrasing, linguistic tool or phrase in particular way. Sociolects allow people to identify and affirm their belonging to a specific social group. The language we use can indicate our age, gender, educational level, occupation, or social economic status. We refer to our social identity. The study of sociology is important because it allows to understand the linguistic diversity that exists in our society and how this diversity is related to the different social groups. In addition, the study sociology can help us improve our communication skills and better adapt to different communication situations.
Hello, I'm are going to continue about the characteristic of the socialite. The first one is socially bound, and socialites are strongly connected to a specific groups. This means that the way people speak can be often use something about their social environment, such as their class, profession, or age group. For example, the way teenagers talk might be quite different from how business executive communicators each group has its own way of speaking which help to identify its members well. And the second one is dynamic. Socialites are not fixed, they change over time. As society changes, whether through technology, culture, chief of a social movement. So those the languages used by different groups. For instance, new slang terms might emerge among young people as a new trend erasers, and older terms might fall out of use. This evolution reflects the ongoing change in the groups identify and experience. The third one is distinctive vocabulary and grammar. Each sociolect often has its own unique of words, first, or even grammar rules that may not be used by other groups. For example, a specific profession might have jargon that only those within the field understand. And similarly, certain social class or age groups might use particular expression that are unique to them. This difference can sometimes create a languages barrier between different groups. And finally, the character is reflect social identify. Um, the way people speak from their social act can reveal a lot about who they are and where they come from. For example, someone's languages might indicate their social class, age, or even their weight grade up. These characteristics shows how socialites uh, are more than just ways of speaking. They are tied to the identified and culture of the people using them. The languages you use be a way of showing or belonging to a certain group. That's all.
Here we have some common types of social acts. First, we have the class social act. The first study to prove this was done by William Labov, one of the most famous social linguistics to have worked in the United States. We have two phases. First, the upper class social act, that is the language used by people from higher socioeconomic classes, characterized by the use of more formal vocabulary and grammar. And the other phase is the working class socialite, that is the language used by people from lower socioeconomic classes, which might include more colloquial expressions and slangs. The second one is age related socialite. Young people are constantly inventing new terms and abandoning the old ones. So the youth socialite is the language used by young people, younger people, often featuring contemporary slangs and expressions that are popular among the youth. And in the other hand, we have the elder socialite, that is the language used by older generation, which might include more traditional vocabulary expressions. The third one is gender related socialite. The most popular story about the difference between men's and women's language is that women speak far more words per day than men do. But perhaps unsurprisingly, the claim can be a sexist stereotype at worst. Yet, there are ways that gender may affect the way you speak. For example, in the male social act, it can be include different mm, types of vocabulary choices, topics of conversation, and speaking styles. And in the female social act can be include or um, different vocabulary choices or politeness and strategies or even intonation. The next one is occupational social act, that professional social act. It is the language used by members of a specific profession, such as legal or medical jargon. And so it becomes no surprise that your job has a pretty strong impact on the way you speak. And the last one is regional social act. It's the language used by people living in urban areas or rural areas. In the case of urban areas, it can be influenced by diversity of the city life. And in the other hand, the rural areas, and which might preserve older forms of speech or include region specific dialects in this case.
Of the socialite, teen slam. Teenagers often create and use their own words and phrases that are different from what adults might say. For example, Words like lit, meaning something is cool or exciting, or on flick, meaning something looks good or is perfectly done. Another one is professional jargon. In major plays, people use special words on words that are specific their job or industry. For example, in a business setting, terms like synergy, which refers to working together in a way to produce better results, or long hanging fruit, which means that it is text that can be done quickly. Another one is regional variation. Sometimes the way people speak can differ depending on the region or area where they live, even if they are part of same social class. For example, working class people in a region might use different score, have different accent compared compared to working class people in another region.
What is the meaning of the term social dialect? A social dialect is a variety of specific language modified in terms of vocabulary, accent, and grammar by the social groups using it. For example, Gen Zers will likely use a slightly different vocabulary than the baby boomer generation. Think of slang. Both age demographics speak English, but that version of English differs. Social legs typically develop over time amongst people who share the same social backgrounds or environments, such as job or education background. When we spend a lot of time with people or groups of people, we may find out that our language begins to change and becomes more like the people around us. This is what we call accommodation. Sociolinguistic variables. There is some evidence of socially motivated coherence involving gender as well as status differentiation. Female speakers show stronger correlation among variables than men. While non-standard phonology seems to be indexable on male identity, the conclusion is that some social cohesion does exist, but it may be weaker and more multidimensional. It is then in this commonly assumed. Future work on social legs should prioritize this coherence. Well, as the main definition of social linguistics, it is the study of sociological aspects of language. The discipline concerns itself with part with language plays in maintaining the social roles in community. Social linguistics attempt to isolate those linguistic features that are used in our practical situations and that mark the various social relations among the participants and the significant elements of these two situations. Influences of the choice of sounds, grammatical elements, and vocabulary items include such factors as the age, sex, education, occupation, race, and per group identification, among others. For example, an American English speaker may use such forms as he don't know nothing or he doesn't know anything, depending on such considerations as level of education, race, social class, or consciousness, or the effect he wishes to produce on the person he's addressing. In some languages, such as Japanese, there is an intricate system of linguistic forms that indicate the social relationship of the speaker to the hearer. Social dialects, which exceed a number of socially significant language forms, serve to identify the styles of speakers. This is especially evident in England, where social dialects transcend regional dialect boundaries. As we established in this presentation, social linguistics it is the study of the relationship between the language and society. It is interesting in how we speak differently in various such contexts and how we may use specific function of language to convey social meaning or aspects or an identity or work or religion, any aspect of human life. There are three main concepts of social linguistics: dialects, literature, and style. Those are two. Sorry. Those are the two main causes that we should use to identify any correlation between speaker and hearer. It is important to study social linguistics since it can reveal how our identity is born to use our language because of any gender, race, sex, anything that qualifies as a human being. So I hope in this presentation you understand, not quietly, but you may understand how socialites are important in our society and in our identity. Thank you very much.
In conclusion, socialists are important because they help us understand the difference and similarities within a language, promoting respect for the various forms of expression that exist in society. Thank you.